Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Aja Goare. The historic summit between President Trump and North Korea's dictator planned for next month is off. The meeting would have included discussions about the North's nuclear weapons program. CBS's Mo Lengi has the latest.
President Trump pulled the plug this morning on his summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
I believe that this is a tremendous setback for North Korea and indeed a setback for the world.
The president sent a letter to Kim writing, "Sadly, based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, I feel it is inappropriate at this time to have this long-planned meeting." The president's action follows strong words from North Korea overnight. An aide to Kim called Vice President Mike Pence a political dummy for his recent suggestion of a regime change if denuclearization negotiations fail.
This will only end like the Libyan model ended if Kim Jong-un doesn't make a deal.
Adding, the U.S. must decide whether it wants to meet us at a meeting room or encounter us at a nuclear-to-nuclear showdown. President Trump responded, writing, "You talk about your nuclear capabilities, but ours are so massive and powerful that I pray to God they will never have to be used." The summit was scheduled for June 12th in Singapore. Administration officials were scheduled to go there this weekend to work out final details. The president left the door open for future negotiations, writing, "If you change your mind, please do not hesitate to call me or write." Mo Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
The president says the missed opportunity is a truly sad moment in history. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice is sharing classified material about an FBI informant with congressional leaders today. There will be two separate meetings. The first is with congressional allies of President Trump who have been pushing to see this information. The second meeting was added later to include leaders from both sides. President Trump has seized on the revelation that an informant met with aides to say the FBI planted a spy in his presidential campaign. Here in Montana, a Billings man denies he beat an Anaconda woman to death in her home last week. 52-year-old Troy Johnson pleaded not guilty in Anaconda Deer Lodge District Court to one count of deliberate homicide. Johnson is charged with the murder of 64-year-old Shelley Schaefer. Investigators say Johnson was squatting on the victim's property without her permission. Johnson is being held on a $1 million bond. The Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office determined a rumor of a threat to the Lockwood School District is unfounded, but deputies are still planning an increased presence this week. The district implemented a soft lockdown Wednesday, which means the school was locked, but students and teachers were able to move inside the building. This came after a series of rumors about a possible threat to Eileen Johnson Middle School. The superintendent told parents attendance is optional today and Friday. He will also meet with the sheriff's office today to decide if the 8th grade promotion ceremony will still take place. Missoula County officials are investigating whether contaminated water is leaking from the old Smurfit Stone Mill site into the swollen Clark Fork River. The test results could take a couple of weeks. MTN's Dennis Bragg reports.
Since we first reported this story a couple of weeks ago, the tons of high water rushing by the Smurfit berms has eased somewhat. And while the berms which separate the rivers from the old cooling ponds appear to be holding, concern is building a problem may have developed at the downstream corner of the lagoons. In this video we showed you Monday night, you can see how contractors reinforce the berm known as 13A with additional fill material. But we also noticed right away there's some discoloration in the water where groundwater boils showed up on the lagoon side last week. While the county says the dark stain is tannin or discoloration likely caused by wood and vegetation debris, it could be an indicator of problems.
There's some complicated hydrogeology going on there that we believe those interactions are still occurring, showing material leaving the site entering surface water. That's another area where we become concerned and want to know what's in that material.
With the risk of heavy metals and dioxins from decades of mill operations being released downriver, the Environmental Protection Agency was collecting water samples Wednesday.
They will be sent to a lab. We're at this point expecting a couple of week turnaround, hoping for something sooner. In addition, the county will likely collect some of its own samples.
During the press conference, Ross emphasized the county is depending on EPA to deploy any contingency plans if it turns out there is a toxic leak.
Floodwaters are high. We're seeing the interactions. Not sure what's in the water. We don't want to alarm anybody, but we want to be prudent too and take samples when we're seeing these interactions and be able to answer the public when they have questions about what's leaving the site.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Thank you, Dennis. And engineers are taking elevation readings as they try to measure whether the river or the lagoons are higher and if that is creating the leakage. Flooding prompts a state emergency in Laurel. Heavy rains coupled with the melting snowpack has resulted in a significant rise in the water levels on the Yellowstone River. The Yellowstone County Disaster and Emergency Services Director says local creeks and streams will running bank full and then some heading into our long weekend. And we turn out to the weather scene with Ed McIntosh, and it's not just the Yellowstone in the Laurel area, but up in Livingston having some issues.
That's right. In fact, just a couple of moments ago, we had the watch there turn into a warning, and across western and central Montana in particular, we've been talking about this day after day. Warnings, advisories, watches remain into effect, and we're going to see even more of those as the weekend continues to progress. Now we're adding in a flood warning in that area along the Yellowstone. We're at 9.4 feet right now. 9.5 is flood stage around Livingston, and that's expected to be reached in a short while. And we'll likely see some other areas also reach flood stage with some very warm temperatures. Waterways are running very fast as we start getting into the long weekend, so use a lot of caution and be careful around the banks because they too are very unstable. More on the weather coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks, Ed. We'll check back in. People from across Montana gathered in Great Falls to voice their opposition against the Keystone XL pipeline.
What do we want? Clean water! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Clean water! When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
And the critics you just heard from say the project threatens the drinking and irrigation water in the state, along with water used by farmers, ranchers, and the Fort Peck tribe. The rally comes before today's federal court hearing regarding the Trump administration's approval of the pipeline. Dina Hoff of Glendive tells us she's experienced negative effects of a pipeline before, saying a pipeline spilled in 2015 under her sheep pasture.
A 36-inch pipeline would have 9 times the capacity of the 12-inch pipeline that broke under the river in Glendive below my sheep pasture. And people don't have all the facts. They don't understand the implications of this pipeline. It's more than jobs. It is devastation.
The hearing at the Missouri River Federal Courthouse in Great Falls got underway this morning. Montana's landmark law requiring disclosure of campaign activity by so-called dark money groups will stand. Federal Appeals Court has upheld that law, which requires groups that buy ads or materials that mention a candidate's name within 60 days of the election to report the spending. The group must also report its donors. A Montana free market group challenged the law as unconstitutionally vague and said it violated its members' right to association. But a federal judge in Montana rejected those arguments last fall, and this week the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld that ruling. The appeals court says Montana is properly regulating election communications. Well, you can now find Montana in Virginia. The submarine named after the Treasure State is now about half complete in Virginia and is on schedule to be launched in 2020. The USS Montana Committee on Wednesday presented an update on the sub, which will soon be among the most advanced in the world. It's a nuclear fast attack submarine complete with stealth capabilities designed to help out with surveillance and intelligence gathering operations. The shipyard held a keel-laying ceremony last week. The submarine will also bear a flag designed to show Montana's spirit. Still to come on the Noon News, an investigation into the deadly Malaysia Airlines crash points the finger at Russia. We have the details next. But first, Ed has our weather forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching MTN News with Aja Goare, Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Egg Network. This is the Noon News on Q2, Montana's news leader.